You're listening to the Imposter Roster, The Secret Lives of Capable Women. I'm your host, Christine Chevenko. You know that voice in your head, the one that whispers, "How did I get here?" Like at any moment, someone's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Oops, we meant someone else." That's exactly what we talk about here. Each episode, we sit down with a high achiever who's questioned whether they deserved to be there and then tell us how they rose anyway. So let's get into it. Some people talk about saving the world. Here's someone who's busy doing it in style. Meet Amanda Sweet, speaker, ecosystem builder, and the woman Detroit knows as the Creative Fairy Godmother. Amanda is the founder of the Revamp Ecosystem, a culture-shifting platform where fashion meets sustainability, meets full-blown community magic. Through immersive events, storytelling, and creative collaboration, she and her eccentric crew of volunteers have diverted more than 76,000 pounds of clothing from landfills while simultaneously creating a launch pad for Detroit's creatives, entrepreneurs, and emerging leaders. She's also the force behind the Revamp Clothing Swap Festival, the Swap magazine, and her role as Director of Ecosystem Development at Bamboo Co-work. In 2026 alone, the Revamp landed 3 major recognitions, including the Next Cycle Michigan Accelerator. Amanda's mission? Help people get fly, make friends, and save the world in that order. Fellow imposters and certified badasses, please welcome Amanda Sweet. Yay, she's here. She's here. She is the one you want to talk to, believe me. Oh, I'm so glad you made time to talk to me because, girl, you are busy.
And full and fulfilled is what I like to say.
Full and well, this is how we like to see people in general, but you are so bright. And when I say bright, yes, aesthetically, but also
Yes.
your personality is just so bright. Yeah, you can't be anything but fulfilled because it really it spouts from you. And that's why I thought, talking to you today would be really a really interesting journey because I also know you don't always feel that way. And there are some tough times that you've had that made you question like, who am I? And am I okay enough? Am I okay enough to be here? Should I be doing this thing? So can you get us started with how, like, all these things that I've just read about you? How, how did you get there? What thing came first? What made you do what you're doing?
Well, it's funny that you say you've seen me in these spaces because I feel like, Christine, you got like a antenna on your head because you sometimes just know when to pop up in my life to get me out of my spiraling, to get me to swirling in a really, really good way. So like
Oh,
you also have a sixth sense, and I'm just really glad to be with you always.
uh,
As always. What started it? It's just one foot in front of the next. I mean, we like there's a lot of stories and there's no one particular thing, but I feel like since I was a kid, I was in a disruptive energy, like just existing, my body was unacceptable. Having a woman's body at a young age, looking different, feeling different, being bossy, being all kinds of things, wanting to be outside of the norm. I feel like I was constantly being redirected to be more normal and to be more assimilated with what is expected. And I did it for a long time. I did it in abusive relationships. I did it in abusive job working spaces. And so like at some point I just cracked. And I think it was just a bunch of different cracks that happened where I just needed to exist. And now I feel like I get to ask myself the question of like, who do I want to be instead of who I have to be?
The cracking then, what do you think, I guess I would call it like a linchpin, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Um, what can you possibly recall what was that thing that
Mhm.
made you say, I can't do this anymore, whatever this is, you know?
Yeah. There was a lot of scenarios like that. There was a lot of, like, hands up, can't do it. I think, like, my last abusive partnership, relationship, romantic one, we were gonna move in together, and I could see both of our lights deteriorating with each other, and there was a moment where I was like, it was like the last week of school, and we were in our dorms together, and we were gonna go apartment hunting, and I was gonna be removed and on an island by myself with this person who we were not good for each other. We were not good for each
Mhm.
other. Um, and just kind of saying, "You know, I don't wanna do this. I don't think this is right for me." And I remember him calling me selfish, and there was, like, a moment in my head where I was like, "Yeah, actually, I am selfish. I'm being very highly selfish in this moment." And it was through that journey of breaking up with him, I learned that selfishness is the first step to selflessness. And if I really want to be the kind of person that gives back, that is supportive of the community, where I find myself a lot, like volunteering, and
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. But like in that moment, I was like, oh, in order for me to help others, I have to help myself first. I have to help myself first. I can't rescue someone if I'm drowning in my clothes, which was a big thing for me. My first thing for me is always like retail therapy. I used it very badly for myself.
Oh.
I would go shopping, I would avoid doing laundry, I would just go buy more underwear. I would just go buy more stuff, and it was literally like a physical manifestation of my overwhelm. I was, like, walking on piles of my clothes in my dorm room.
What was the retail therapy therapizing, shall I ask?
I think it was, like, masking who I was in my private life versus how I was presenting my persona in public life. You know, if I dressed up nice and I looked good and I looked put together, that you couldn't see the hoard and the abuse behind my front door, right? Like, you could hide it with
S
aesthetic.
so this brings up a really important question. So to hide something means you believe there's something unworthy about you, less than. Um, what what do you think now looking back? What do you think you were trying to hide? What was so, I'd
Mm.
say, um, unworthy or unacceptable about you that you felt you had to hide it? And what was your age at the time?
I was probably, like, 19. And I had lived many lives before then. I was on drug and alcohol.
Mm,
I was I was I was on probation at 13. So, like, being on probation, drug and alcohol probation at 13, I started drinking at 11, I started smoking
mm,
at 11, I got caught in school at 13, right? So, I lived many lives. I was an adult AA at 13 years old, and I had to go with my dad because I was a minor, but it was,
oh,
like,
wow.
great, you know what I mean? You walk into these rooms and you're peeing in a cup in front of a nurse, and your dad is in the bathroom with the nurse, and then you walk into this room and there's people that are looking at you and they're like, "What the heck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Right? And so
Mm,
college, like, that's really how I've learned about volunteer work and the impact of community work and being in inclusive spaces, was going through AA and NA, because being a 13-year-old child in a room with a 21-year-old, a 60-year-old, a 50-year-old, a somebody that just got a divorce, somebody that just lost their family, right? It just makes you see the world differently. But going through my own abuse later on in life and then finding that it was really, like, it started here, and the relationships that I had with other people were just masking the pain and project
mhm.
pain that I was feeling internally. So I think I was trying to hide that, like, uh, that I was happy when I wasn't, you know?
So this person, your partner that you were leaving at the end of the semester, he must have fulfilled that thing for a
Oh,
while.
oh, yeah, there was a couple of them. He was just, like, the top of the, like, the worst of the worst, and not, and I always say it's not to his fault, our chemistry just didn't.
Right, right.
But it was a moment where I was like, "Well, we get to choose." and we get to be selfish. We're kids. We get to choose. And this is not the life I want for either of us. You're not a bad.
Gosh, I have to ask, like, what was it in you? Like, what kind of strength you had in you at that age? I mean, that's a young age. There are many people twice your age, thrice that age, right? That
Yeah.
still have not heard that voice
Mm.
or had that feeling, and yet you did. And I honestly believe that that was just a divine inspiration because you have so much you need to accomplish in this lifetime. And
Yes.
so you were divinely inspired by, girl, you just, no, okay, it's
It's
okay.
time. And I think it is scary to do anything different. Even
Yeah.
now, like, as someone who, I remember leaving my last abusive job. I found my partner. He's amazing. He's the most wonderful, amazing human. He's seen me through so many different versions of myself, but I was still in an abusive job work scenario. And I was like, this is my last abusive relationship I'll ever have. I remember saying that to him. And when I finally left, and it was a bad breakup, and I finally left that job, and I was like, wow, I have surrounded myself with people who give a crap and about me, see me for the person that I am, and now I have to do the work to be that version of myself. Now I get the opportunity to do the work to be this version of myself. And it's not a straight line. And I have regressions all the time where I like fall back, but I can see I'm like, oh, when I start to get piles of clothes in my house, it's like the first sign that something's off, right?
But now that brings me straight to the revamp. It's all about the clothing swap. Is that maybe why you said, "I can't throw this stuff out"?
No, no.
Maybe
And I'm like,
someone else wants it?
exactly. Like, so I've always grown up, and my mom's from the Philippines, and there's this thing called a balikbayan box, where you send all of the stuff that your family in the Philippines may not have access to, right? And so we would do that a lot. And my family, there's a lot of like there's historical trauma, but there's a lot of good that comes from it. And so, like, buying stuff and collecting stuff and sending stuff has always been a part of the culture in my family, in the
Mm.
Filipino culture, in the American Filipino culture. And so I'm like, I don't have any direct relation to the Philippines. My mom does, her sisters and her nieces and her nephews, but I grew up here in Metro Detroit. So like, who do I send a balikbayan box to? My neighbors, right? And so it just made sense. Like, as someone who I like to throw parties. I love a good party. I grew up in a party house, and so when I was cleaning house spiritually and literally, I was like, where am I going to put all this stuff? And it's cute stuff. So I can't just, I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't wanna just throw it to somebody who's gonna just turn it and flip it for a profit. I wanna give it to my friends. And I was doing that socially in Detroit for a long time, and then my now husband and I moved to Texas, and moving to Texas pulled me from my people, and so I needed to do it in a way that made sense, which was like, "Free Facebook event. Come pick up my stuff. It's cute, I swear." 5 people showed up, and I bought 45 bagels, and we had a Bluetooth speaker, and one girl showed up and she said, "Do this again, and I'm gonna post it on Instagram." And I was like, "Okay." And we did it again, and 20 people showed up. And they're like, "Do another one. This was so fun." We did another one, and we did another one, and 7 years later, today, we're seeing over 700 attendees. We're seeing over 250 volunteers. We're diverting an average of 16,000 pounds of clothes from the landfill a quarter, and
Wow.
my way to making this not only my full-time job, but jobs for other people.
That is absolutely amazing. You're not lying. You have spectacular taste in clothing.
You.
I mean, you know how to do that kind of thing, which brings me to I didn't mention the fact that you're also Miss Voluptuous America.
Yes, ma'am.
So talk about taking something that gave you pause or made you feel less than and saying, "Oh, no, actually I'm more than." And by the way, I hold the title for America. How did that happen?
It's so funny because my husband says all the time that I've been training for it my whole life. Like, every time I dropped out of college, I either did acting or modeling. I think when the first time I dropped out of college was when I broke up with this person.
Mhm.
And I remember dropping out, and there was a huge whirlwind of crap that happened. But then I quit my job, and I and I dropped out of college, and I started acting. And my mom was like, "Do you love pain? Like, what is your problem? Like, why are you acting?" Of all the things, but I started acting, and through acting, I learned about modeling, and through modeling, I learned about the creative industry that's here in Detroit, and I was doing that for a long time. I was doing runway, I was doing print, I was doing film, I was doing stage, I was doing monologues, I was doing spoken word, I was writing poetry, but and then all of the rooms that I was in, I was like, "There's always something missing." There was always something missing. It was like this human touch. But I remember we started the revamp when I moved to Texas, came back in the middle of the pandemic, and I was missing that, like, the striving piece. I'm a Capricorn, so, like, with climbing, right? So I was like, "I wanna be an entertainer." I remember looking at my husband and being like, "I wanna be an entertainer." And he was like, "Yeah, we knew this, like, you're just figuring this out?" And I was I think I might just be figuring this out. And I Google searched plus size opportunities, and the beauty pageant popped up, and I had less than a month to prepare for the national program, and I went, and I won, and I took the crown home, and I was Miss Voluptuous America and representing plus size women all over the country and talking about partying with purpose. And after that program ended, I was very burnt out, but also I was like, "What did I do this for in the first place?" And it just brought me right back to the revamp. It was like, "Oh, because I like to help people, and I like to throw a damn good party, and I like to be a performer. What a better way to do it than with what I love?"
Talk about win, 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 win. And so do you get to keep that crown?
Oh, yeah.
That
I got 2 crowns and 2 sashes in my closet. They stay in the box though, because I after the crown and sash ended, I started calling myself the Creative Fairy Godmother, which was the name was bestowed on me by another friend, and after I took the crown off and I was like, "Oh, I can walk around Dally in the Alley, the state fair, on
Mhm.
stage in a crown and sash, and people look at you. They look at you funny, or they talk to you, right? It's one or the
Oh,
other.
yeah.
It's one or the other. They're like, "Who does she think she is?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm an international beauty queen, that's who." But after that, I was like, "This is a tool. I understand the tool of beauty pageant systems and titles." And I was like, "Let me just give myself a title, the Creative Fairy Godmother." And I wore wings and I wore ears and and it's my new crown and sash.
That's actually I have seen pictures of you with fairy wings and elf ears. Oh, that's right. Do you
Yes.
know how good you look with elf ears? It's,
I
like, so
it
befitting.
actually it really works. Like, sometimes I don't feel like it fits, and sometimes I'm like, "Oh, this is the thing the outfit needed, was the ears and the wings." Like,
I know.
did,
I mean,
But
seriously, who would have thought of accessorizing like that? I mean, really, you can walk into Saks and they would not say, "You know what you need? You need a pair of ears instead of wings."
but sometimes it just sets it off. It sets it off.
It makes it oh so different, right?
Exactly.
So I'm curious about your magazine.
Oh, yeah.
You have a magazine?
Yes. So, I am a doer of many things, and because I started modeling, my friends around me also wanted to model too, and I wasn't gonna let them shoot with the crazy old guys, which is like
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
myself in a lot of weird situations, and I'm thankful that I got out. We don't got enough time for all that, but I started taking photos of my friends, and so because I started doing that, when I moved to Texas and the swap started kind of picking up, I was like, "We need flyers." So I started taking pictures of my friends that were helping me execute it. And then I started building parameters around what I needed them to do in order for the photos to actually do something in marketing. So I came up with this program called the Revamp Brand Ambassador program, and it's a part of the festival. Our brand ambassadors model for me and a media team, and then we use those photos to guerrilla market the festivals. And they also in turn get free photos, get free clothes, get fed on both of the days, and then they help us by telling their friends about it and volunteering for 3 hours. And that brand ambassador program has grown. We have about 85 to 90 brand ambassadors every
Wow.
90 days, 10 to 15 media people on our team. where we're creating an opportunity, a platform for them to express themselves. And I remember we got to a point in the revamp where I was like, I could pay everybody $1 right now and make jobs like I said I was going to do. Or I could take those dollars and give them more credibility by making them a magazine. And I decided to invest in the magazine January of this year. And this is my whole life. Everything I've ever accomplished is just one form and application away. It's just a form and an application away. The beauty pageant was an application. The Next Cycle and Black Tech Saturdays Michigan Central programs were just an application. And so I applied and I got in. And so now I'm creating space for people to apply and get in. And so the magazine was just two Google Forms away from creation. Yes, it's taking work, but
Oh,
in my
yeah.
in my heart as someone who's modeled and been an entertainer and been a creative in the industry, it's hard to get into doors without credibility. And they're like, "Well, go get experience." Well, where do you go get experience if nobody's willing to give you experience? And so I'm like, this is the way you build your portfolio with us. We'll give you legit print credits, whether you're a photographer, a model, a writer, an advertiser, whatever the case may be, small business. We're creating this opportunity for people to do things that they think are for them 10 years down the road. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. We're doing it today. We're doing it now. So it comes from that space of like being unseen to turn around and be like, oh no, I see you guys. And
So so are the people that are your brand ambassadors, are they also interested in modeling? So they want that opportunity to do that?
yes, people who are our brand ambassadors are interested in modeling. They're interested in dressing themselves in an expressive way. They're interested in meeting other like-minded creatives. Some people like being on camera. Some people do it more for the like expressing themselves because I really do believe dressing like your true, most authentic self is a spiritual healing and cleansing yourself of the things that you don't wear anymore and bringing in new things that really attune and talk to the version of you that you are today and tomorrow. It's all spiritual. It's all spiritual work. We're just doing it under the guise of clothes and media, you know?
It's so funny because when I was growing up, every Halloween, I always wanted to be a free spirit. The more I could rattle and sparkle and have scarves all over me, the happier I was. And my mom would always say, "Why can't you be a princess like other girls?" I was like, "'Cause it's boring." And, that still exists. I swear, if you take a look at my closet, it kind of looks like the closet of a high fairy child or something. It's the stuff. I like that kind of stuff. And I kind of juxtapose them in ways that you'd say, never would have thought of that. So what you're doing, Amanda, is you're giving all of us that license to just be who we are and not hold back.
Yeah.
Not say, "Oh, I don't know if this like I'd never see this in a Saks Fifth Avenue magazine." No, no, you won't,
Nope.
because we're all individuals. You're going to see a lot of different stuff,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And putting fat, queer, black, brown people on a cover of a magazine is not something I wanna wait till my children's children I don't wanna wait for
Right.
generations to experience that. Like, I don't wanna wait for anybody to give me the authority, so I'm just like, "Let's do it." I think it comes from a place of, like, aggressive suppression to say, like, "You're too this, you're not enough that, you're too much of this," and now that I have the the I was gonna say balls, but, like,
Yeah.
ovary and
Yeah.
and energy to do it, we're gonna do it. Cause like, why not us? That's what
Oh,
the imposter syndrome stuff, it's like, allow it to happen, but in the same breath be like, "Oh, yeah, but" like, you can feel all the imposter syndrome stuff. You can feel it, but also, like, do it anyway. Just do it anyway. Fill out the form, and then spiral about it later. Do the event and spiral about it later. Like, feel the weird there's
yes.
a
It's
natural.
okay. You'll have your time to go nuts later. But go
Yes.
ahead and get that form in there because there's this time
Just do
sensitive.
it. Yeah, exactly, exactly, that part. Just get it in
Is
before the deadline, you can spiral later.
is there an age restriction to the people who attend your
No,
revamp?
no. We've had well, even the brand ambassadors, we had a 72-year-old model, we had a 7-year-old model that came with their family. The people that come, it's all genders, all races, all ages, all sizes, all identities, all financial backgrounds. It is really a place for people to come and express themselves. And that is the one part for me that is the most overwhelming. It's like if if I believe if there's a moment where I don't believe in myself, I have to think and look at the community that I've built, and I'm like, it only come like, I can only create something this diverse, this inclusive, this psychologically safe if I'm also doing the same for me. If I'm also creating a world. So when I get impostery, I just go look at the pictures or I go be with the people. Where I am strong is with the people. Where I'm strong is in the present and in the moment. And so if I ever get in a weird headspace, I'm just like, I need my people. I need my
You know, you're creating a safe space that you also have to live in, and I guess you feel that if you can live in it, okay, we're good to go. You can live in it too, because 'cause I'll accept you as you are.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
move locations? Do the
Yeah.
swap meets move locations?
We bounce around, although Southfield is kind of asking for more than one, which is really exciting. But we bounce around locations. Every 90 days, we're in a different spot, which is great because we wanna really showcase what the city has to offer. The city has a
Mm,
reputation too, and I'm trying to fix that also. And
yeah.
case small businesses and big businesses that are creating resources for people that our community may not have known about.
So would you consider holding some of these revamp meets outside of Michigan as well?
We're talking about it. We're talking about what that looks like. What does the
Mhm.
future of the revamp look like? It looks multi-city. It looks like created jobs. It looks like a workforce that works in sustainable fashion. Like that is so exciting to me to say, like, I am going to make jobs for people in sustainable fashion. And it might not be in a thrift store, which is crazy to think about, right? It's like, what are the other options? There's not a lot of options. And so, yeah, when I think about the revamp, I think multi city, I think some retail. But I recently did a Google search that I really had to, like, check myself with the imposter syndrome because she happens. She
Mm,
happens. But I had to check myself because I Googled the biggest clothing swap festival in the world. And guess
and
what?
you?
Mhm.
Oh, Amanda!
And
That's
so
so cool!
and there's one Guinness Book World of Records. There's somebody, like, in Chile or something that had 2,000 people come together and do a swap, and we're, like, 2 swaps away. We're, like, 2 or 3 swaps away from that number, and we're not slowing down anytime soon.
But I also wonder if the one in Chile was like a one-of type of thing and you're
It
ramping
looks
up where it's a regular thing. It's just
it
a
it
regular
reads as though it was, like, an event for a Guinness Book World of Records, right?
oh, s like,
Like a one-off.
specifically so it could
Yeah,
be yeah.
yeah, but I'm like,
But
we're, like, 2 or 3 swaps away from that. So, you know
so what do you think is next? I mean, yes, you're growing your revamp, you're going to be improving your magazine, I guess distribution and what have you. And also, I mean, with respect to you had spoken of some programs that you had been accepted into. What would these programs be, and how does it affect your plans for revamp, the magazine, and what you're moving forward with?
So I'm in 4 programs right now. I'm with Next Cycle Michigan, which is a national recycling accelerator. I'm with Black Tech Saturdays in the Michigan Central Station Leadership Cohort. I'm doing an internship cohort with Boss Blue, so they're giving us our first intern. And I'm a waste warrior for the city of Detroit. And for me, really, the next step looks like creating solid ground so we
Mhm.
can run amok on it. We can run. So we
I
can.
love it. Oh my god, Amanda. That's gonna be a quote for the ages, "Creating solid ground so we can run amok on it." Oh my god.
Yeah, I really wanna create stability for all of us, for us to the creating jobs piece is really important to me, for myself, but for others that, like don't see themselves in a full-on corporate space or a full-on creative space. They're somewhere in the middle, and, like, I wanna make that space for us.
Well, corporate spaces are very quickly disappearing for a lot of different reasons, not just because of the aftermath of COVID either. And the fact is, the passion that you have for this, we know springs from you have lived it, which is why you have the passion. And passion is absolutely required to see a dream come true. Because as you know, it requires tenacity
Mhm.
and it requires bootstrapping all the time. And you clearly have that. Do you have, other than the, don't give up, do you have any other suggestions or recommendations or little tips that you might give to someone who is hearing this and saying, "Oh god, I feel this. I feel that, and I was thinking I would really like to, but I'm not sure." Do you have
Trusting yourself is practice. It's not something you have or don't have.
mm,
So you've gotten really accustomed to practicing trusting the voice that tells you no because it keeps you safe. And my recommendation is experiment with trusting the voice that tells you to go because that voice just needs more time to develop itself. You, as a professional, as an expressive person that's not only seeing your dreams, but trusting them long enough to see them through to the finish line and again and again and again is a state of
yeah.
practicing, experimenting, listening, trying. Like, I am not like a divine. Okay, before I say this, I write in my journal all the time. I am divinely chosen. I am the chosen one for my life. But I am no different than anybody listening. You are also the chosen one divinely for your life. And you need to walk and act as such that you are the chosen one. You are the chosen one. I am my chosen one. If you are your chosen one and you constantly are choosing no, then you're choosing the life that you have. And my tip for you is journal, is write, is experiment and express. A lot of the times, the things that you think are gonna kill you or be the death of you or embarrass you, like wearing a crown in public, is embarrassing. Wearing ears and wings feels embarrassing. People look at me embarrassed for me, but they don't understand the color of the life that I live in order for me to actually do that, to walk out of my front door with 10-foot fairy wings. It takes trust and it takes patience, it takes practice, because the people that see that and are attracted to that, not only attract to that, they flock to it, creates loyalty, and it helps propel me and this community forward. I have to be the beacon of the work that we're doing. Same to you. You have to be the beacon of your work. You can't hide it. You can't skirt around it. You got to do it. And doing it is baby steps. And sometimes it just starts with a Google form and applying.
I don't know, that might be the title of this podcast. Sometimes it just starts with a Google form.
Yes,
But I
yes.
think there are other things I could probably say. So I would say, listening to you, um, yes, I believe, yes, you were probably on the imposter roster at some point in your life.
It comes in waves.
But given all that you've accomplished so far and will continue to do, it's very clear that you have taken your little fairy wings and allowed them to just levitate you right off that roster. And so let's just go ahead and cue those glasses because Amanda Sweet, you are flying off that roster.
I receive that. I really do receive that.
Thank you so very much for joining me today.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate your time and your incredible wisdom. So thank you for being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to this episode of the Imposter Roster. We hope you have a wonderful day and go be you. Amanda says so. Bye bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Imposter Roster. If something you heard today made you nod, laugh, or quietly think, "Ooh, that's me," share it with someone who needs it, because the more we talk about it, the less power it has. Follow or subscribe for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. It genuinely helps more people find their way here. Until next time, here's to finding your way off the roster, one honest conversation at a time.